I'm back, hi. Sorry it's been so long, my laptop died. But it's back now. Woo! This week's topic, as Becca said, is about religion, but also, like Becca, I don't really feel qualified to. It's really personal and contentious, and I really only have 3 links to religion. The first is my habitual blaspheming. Second, my life ambition to seduce a nun or a monk. Finally, pretty shockingly to some of you I guess, when I was little I was very religious. I actually asked my parents if I could be baptised for my birthday. Thankfully they suggested that I wait until I was a little bit older, and I kind of went off the idea as soon as I started getting funny feelings for Rosario Dawson. I prayed nightly, often in a very sort of self-deprecating way. Like, I never really thought that God would really be listening to me because I was just a little chubby kid who got bullied, and I didn't have real problems like starvation. I had the most ribbons for church attendance at my brownie pack, and I really loved the community that I felt, and the songs and the stories and how it kind of brought people together. I loved that. And then I went to secondary school and I started learning about religions other than Catholicism in my RE lessons, and I kind of thought, oh, these are pretty cool and they all seem as valid as one another. I labelled myself as agnostic, sort of shrugged and said that I didn't really like the oppressive sexist structures that religion kind of often found themselves in, but I did like faith. And then I put it away in a little box and just kind of thought I'll think about it another day, and luckily that allowed me to sort of navigate my sexuality without feeling too much Catholic guilt, which was great. Basically, I just want to say, like, it would be really easy for me to sit here and talk about the sexism and homophobia that I read about in papers and that does exist in the world in religious communities, but I think that the idea of faith, and the idea of like the communities that kind of spring up around it, they have a lot to offer and a lot of people get quite a lot from it, and often it is the most marginalised people who find themselves in religious communities and find themselves with faith because they don't have much else left sometimes. For example, women are more likely to be religious than men. I think it's really sad, and I wish that we lived in a world where there were more communities like the kind of communities that you get at churches and synagogues and temples and things, where people, keep tabs on each other and really do care about each other. I wish that there were more, community centres and meet and greets and more sort of crisis centres for when people are feeling really low, so that they can, challenge addiction or deal with trauma or mourning and grief. I wish that more kind of social groups existed like that. Maybe that's something that we should kind of build up. But at the moment, I think that people find such solace and help and comfort from the people they know and the songs they learn and the passages that they memorise. When they're feeling so low, I think that, fighting to completely abolish that and take that away and ban it and make it illegal and start wars based on it, that's such a horrible thing. I think it just stifles so much of what people are feeling. The hatred and exploitation that does exist in religious communities and institutions, however, is a different matter. We should definitely not stop questioning churches and heads of states and churches, and they can be a force for projecting evil into society, and that's awful, but it's not intrinsic to religion. It's not something that only comes from a religion. It's part of wider social structures. The obscene wealth that happens in the Catholic Church, for example, that's a problem with capitalism. It's not necessarily a problem that only happens within religion. You see it happening at higher echelons of all kinds of institutions. So I think it's not intrinsic, but it is entrenched, and we need to challenge it. But you don't necessarily have to go about that by just completely dismantling religion altogether. We need to find a new approach, really, especially considering that the groups that claim to be working for gay rights and feminism by dismantling religions, like Becca mentioned in her video, like anti-theist communities and things like that, you know, they often are really sexist and racist and classist. I think, in short, we need to stop trampling on people and start listening to them, listening to their experiences, and taking out what's good from that, and not kind of limiting that or trying to invalidate that in a bid to kind of push forward our own agendas. So, internet, my ears are open. Tell me of your experiences. I'd really like to hear of personal experiences with religion and faith, and the times that it gave you strength and the times that you wanted to exercise it completely. I'd definitely love to hear about all of that, and just, you know, how it intersects with your politics, how it intersects with your personal relationships, with your relationships with your family. I don't know, you tell me. Anyway, it's been lovely coming back to the channel, and I hope we can all have nice, fun and respectful discussion